The purpose of this quarterly launch, this webinar that we're doing with everybody is we want to just share our recent product updates. So this is a period of time that, over the last quarter, the product team has been building a bunch of different things to, enhance the collaboration between the demand and supply. We get asked all the time is like, how do we decide what to build? So we do have three different ways that we look at it. So our clients, so both our EMPs that use IronSight and our service providers, we collaborate, we talk with, we're always, somebody at IronSight's always talking with somebody about, what could be next. So we take that all in. We do have a strategy. So IronSight, we don't hide that. We have a strategy where we want to build a collaborative energy future and have demand and supply work within the network to accomplish all their common goals. So that is our strategy. And then lastly, it's about ensuring that we have performance of the platform, and it's in, the system's there for a long duration, and it says it's going to do what you expect it to do.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Adam Jessam. So I'm the other co-founder of IronSight, and I work really closely with the development team in Edmonton, working on product improvements. So we have a couple product improvements that we'll be sharing today that are very focused on improving the experience for the supply side. Yeah, so just as a reminder, we have both demand and supply that are collaborating on IronSight, and yeah, just a large chunk of our roadmap recently has been devoted to those to the supply side. We have a couple plans available for suppliers. One is our free guest plan, and the other is the pro paid plan. So this kind of just gives you at a glance some of the features that are on each plan. So this information is available on our website. Many of the people attending today are on the guest plan. So just to, we're going to probably say that a few times in this presentation. I just wanted to define what it means to be a guest supplier. So it'd be like that you were onboarded by one of your clients. You're not connected to all of your different customers, probably just one or two. Using IronSight for free, and only have access to basically the core basic features. You start as being, we call it managed by that original client. And when you upgrade, we will unmanage you. And from there, we can upgrade you to Pro and ensure that you're still connected to that original client. You can receive jobs from them. But you can also connect to other clients that are already on IronSight or create new ones. And at the end of it, you should be connected to all the customers so that jobs can start flowing. And yeah, the end state is that you can see all of your team, like all your trucks and drivers and workers in one place. And you can dispatch and manage all of your work in one place as well. The Pro plan also comes with other features as well. So we covered this top left one here of connecting with your other clients, but we also have features that will simplify your ticketing and invoicing flows. You can fill out digital safety and inspection forms out in the field. So it could be something like attaching a JSA to a job. We also have real-time analytics, so you can get reports and insights into your business. And kind of the two on the right here, I'm just labeling as new. Those are the two that we'll be covering in detail today. So you'll be able to invite requesters to the platform so that they can request and approve your jobs much easier. And the bottom one there is that you'll be able to easily sync job information into QuickBooks Desktop. So yeah, we'll just kind of get into each one of these a bit more. On the ticketing side, your drivers and workers will be able to enter billable line items at the end of a job. Those can be verified by your office team. So you can load up a price book and do your ticketing through IronSight. Batching, it's kind of like invoicing, but instead of, collecting all those tickets, scanning them, putting on an invoice cover sheet, on the Pro plan, you're able to batch up all jobs that should be on an invoice together, and then easily get that into your financial systems. On the form side, instead of filling out a paper JSA, your workers will have a lot easier time doing it through IronSight digitally. And you can actually make it mandatory on certain jobs that these are filled out, so it'll increase or improve your compliance. On the analytics and reporting side, instead of collecting tickets and doing data entry into spreadsheets, all the jobs in IronSight can be like you can have charts and tables in real-time analytics to get insights right away without any data entry involved. So new feature 1 is guest requesters. So you'll be able to invite clients like a company man or field operators or well site supervisors to the platform, so that they can request jobs from you through IronSight, approve those much easier, which will help you get paid faster. So yeah, on the right there, we're just showing an image of the invite that they'll receive once you add them to a job. I just wanted to give a bit of background on this. This is actually the feature that, like, why we built IronSight in the first place. So you can see a picture of Sean and I in the bottom left corner there with our vac truck. So this is way back in 2014 when we started the business. And lots of people think we build IronSight as a way to improve logistics, but initially at first the point of it was as a sales tool. We wanted to win more work by allowing our customers to send us job requests through an app instead of calling us. And yeah, you can see got a brochure that I made about a decade ago that we were actually mailing out to customers in hopes that it would result in us getting more business. And kind of the idea behind it was lots of people don't like to call. They like to just put in a request through an app, which is much faster. We thought we could give them a better experience by allowing them to track our truck as it was heading out to the site. That would just increase transparency and accountability. And finally, when they were ready to approve it, it's a lot easier just to sign off digitally than to kind of meet up and sign a field ticket. For the second feature that we'll go over today, it'll be a sync to QuickBooks Desktop. So I mentioned that batching feature where you're able to create basically an invoice in IronSight. There'll be a blue button there where you can press sync, and that will automatically sync it over to QuickBooks Desktop. We have a similar integration set up for another service provider. And we did, we had a discussion with her, and prior to that integration, she was spending about 3 minutes per ticket doing data entry. And then with IronSight and that integration live, it reduced that from 3 minutes down to 0. So they were doing about 100 tickets per day. So that's 300 minutes or about 5 hours of saved time per day that she no longer has to do data entry. And that billing admin can spend her time doing more meaningful tasks for the business. This is the script of what we'll show you today. So at first, we'll show you how to upgrade to Pro Plan if you're interested. Then we'll show you how you get connected to your other clients. From there, we'll show you dispatching a job. I'm sure most of you are aware how to do that. And then we'll show you the driver executing that job on the mobile app. And then after they've done that job and added the line items, the office can review that and adjust it and submit it for the guest requester's approval. So Stephen Visser on the call here will be helping me out. He'll be playing the role of this guest requester. So at this point in the demo, he'll approve that job from within IronSight. And then he'll actually request another job from that company through our app. And then from there, we'll show you how billing admins can batch those jobs and use the sync to easily get them into QuickBooks Desktop. For the guest suppliers that are on the call, I just want to show how they would upgrade. So that's the first part of the demo here. So this is probably the current state you're in, where when you click new job, the job will slide out from the right, and you're only able to click create a job for your one customer. In this case, I'm connected to Atlas Energy. So I don't really have the opportunity to make a job for another customer on this guest plan. Another kind of limitation would be you don't see a forms tab down the left, or maybe you can only fill out your client's forms. When I click on analytics, I just get a placeholder image. I don't actually see any charts or anything like that. So when you're ready to upgrade, and this web page will tell you, there'll be a video that you can watch that shows everything that they'll get on the Pro plan. There'll be a recap of the features we just talked about, gets into some of the pricing and what's included on Guest versus Pro. And finally, we'll tell you about getting started and the support that you can expect to receive from our customer success team. If that all sounds great, you'll click this blue Start Free Trial button, and there's just a very simple form where you fill out your name and company name and hit sign up. And once that form is submitted, you would go back into IronSight, and very shortly, you should start to see that new functionality become available. On the forms page, I can start to see JSAs submitted from my team. I can also fill out any of my internal forms here. Also, when I go to the schedule here, so you can see I happen to be a company that has hot shot trucks, roustabout crews, back trucks, and yeah, you'll notice now when I click new job, it doesn't just immediately slide out and make me create a job for that one customer. I have some additional options here, and that's because I can connect to all my clients. I click on this Manage Clients button, and you'll see that this, I guess you could call it a directory, slides out with all of the existing companies or energy producers that are on IronSight. And you'll have the ability to invite them to connect. In the case that they are an IronSight paying customer, they'll need to accept your invite before you can begin dispatching jobs and receiving jobs from them. And if they're not yet on IronSight, you can just auto connect. So if we look at a company like Crescent Point here, you'd press connect and then immediately be able to start creating jobs. If you don't find what you're looking for here, maybe it's a really small client. As always, you can just create that client very quickly and add them to the network. So I'll show you each of those options right now. So the first one here, let's say it's a small company like Co and Oil Co. We'll do a search and they don't show up, but there's this button here to create Co and Oil Co. Yeah, put in their billing address and I'll click save and create job. And I can immediately start dispatching jobs for Co and Oil Co. So there's energy producers like Chevron and others that we can invite to connect. So like Devo Energy here, I'll click invite, and then it tells me that their admins must accept my invitation before you can create jobs. So I'll press invite. You'll see that it now says pending. So once they accept it, then the connection's established and jobs can start flowing. Finally, Delta Energy Co. So this is we call them a guest energy producer. So they're not paying IronSight yet. They're not subscribed. Obviously, we want that to happen. But for now, they're just a guest. But you can still connect to them. And there's a big advantage in doing so. Because, yeah, I'll show it to you. So Delta Energy Co. So you can just hit connect. And then immediately we're connected. So I'll just now go and create a job for Delta. And yeah, the reason that you would want to connect to these guest energy producers that are in that list, like the existing ones, is you'll notice that when I open up this location dropdown, you'll see that all of their locations are already there. So it saves you a ton of effort from having to add in all these wells and pinpoint the exact lat long. It's all pre-populated for there, which will give you a much quicker start. You can basically create a job immediately. Let's say Stephen Visser on the call here. Let's say he just gave me a call and said, hey, I need you to fill my rig tank on Alamo unit 14H. So I would take that phone call and I would go, okay, it's a back truck. He's telling me he needs his rig tank filled. So now I need to choose the pickup location. So the ones that are pre-populated in here are Delta locations. So it's not actually my locations. But we actually made a product improvement to make it much easier to use your own locations, or BYOL, bring your own location. So let's say I need to grab it from Bogue Water Station. It's not showing up when I search for it. So I click show all locations in my search, and it allows me to just add my locations very quickly. So these are the ones I own and I frequently use. So you can use them with any of your clients much easier now. So I need to bring fresh water, and it's 120 barrels. And the customer, Stephen on the call here, told me it's to bring it to Alamo 134H as the drop-off location. Needs it right away. So we'll leave the start date as the default, put in a costing number, put in some special instructions. And another pro feature is that we can enforce or require our driver to fill out a form. In this case, I'll add a form requirement for a JSA. So that'll prompt the driver to fill it out before they complete the job. So we've just created this job here. It's number 18579. You can see it sitting up here in the queue. And now we need to find the ideal truck and driver for it. So when I click on vac truck 87 here, we can see their real-time location. They happen to be really close to the locations and they're free. So actually I'm going to move this job out, and then I'll take the job that we just created for Delta and I'll drop it on vac truck 87. Now we've dispatched the job. In this requester drop down in here, I'll show you how to actually invite someone from that oil company. It's the company man. So when I expand it down, you'll see your own users at first, and there's this new option to invite the guest requester. So I'll click that, and I know Steven's email is steven.visser plus delta at IronSight.app. I'll put in his name, hit save. And now we've added that guest requester to this job. So I'm just going to hit save and update this job. Okay, so next step in the demo is we're just going to show you the driver executing the assigned jobs. So I've logged in as a driver on the right-hand side on my phone. I'm on duty in vac truck number 87, and we can see job 18579, the Delta job there. So I'm going to open that up. I can see, a mini map there showing me the pickup location and drop off location. I can get directions, so either written directions like you're seeing here, or I can click the blue button to get driving directions through the app on my phone. All the other core information's readily available, like the dates, where I need to pick up from, how much fluid. I have the guest requesters information available, so you can see Steve Visser there. I can tap on them, contact them. You can see that I need to fill out a form later. I can add some attachments and some more, but we always like to say we've kept it simple for the driver, and all they need to do is remember to follow the big blue button there. So big blue button's telling them you should start the job. And right now it's in a scheduled status, and when I press start here, you'll notice the status is now changed to active. And the guest requester who's on this job, as well as, hold on a sec, on your dispatch team will be able to track your truck as it's performing the work. So we'll see it moving around the map. And as well, you'll see that the job is now active. You'll start to see a progress bar filling up back on Dispatch Hub. If you remember, we made a JSA mandatory on this job. So the big blue button is telling the driver here they should fill out a job form, which in this case is that JSA. So this is just an example JSA. These can be customized to match what yours looks like. But we'll just say my supervisor is Steve. My PPE required for this job. Any special considerations? Site control. wind direction. I can take a photo of the site. My keyboard. And I can put in any steps, hazards, and controls. So let's just say driving to location. The hazard is, let's say, traffic, and control is to drive defensively. So submit. And now that I've submitted that JSA, it's attached to the job. And my next step is to complete the job. So I will slide to complete, and I'm prompted to enter in billable line items. So the product service list here, I just have a couple for an example, and it's truck hours operating in a swamper. And you may be wondering where that list actually comes from. And you're able to populate those products and services in the admin portal. So I clicked on the admin portal, and you would go to this products and services list here, and you're able to populate your price book. So you can create the name, give it a type, put the rate in, and put a description. So these products and services should be very closely matched up to whatever you have in your invoicing system, so that when it comes time to sync, it's just a nice match. So yeah, as the driver, I'm going to put truck hours operating, and I had 1.25 hours. And I had another product service that I had a swamper, so like an extra helper on the job, who also worked 1.25 hours, and I'll hit save. Before I do that, I just want to say that the rates are shown in this example, but they can be hidden for drivers, which is the most common case that we run into. So we'll hit save. So job is completed. And as the driver, I can move on with my day. So this would be where your billing team comes in, and they would be able to find those completed jobs here. So we can see completed job 18,579. So I wasn't traveling around while doing that job. But if I was, you'd see this nice, beautiful GPS trip map. So it just lays the GPS breadcrumbs of where I was while performing the work. So this is often required by your customers, and it's right on the job. So you're not having to jump between two systems to find that info. You're also able to see how long the job was planned to happen versus how long it actually took, based on how long the app is tracking that active time. And you can see how far I traveled. I'm up here in Canada right now, so it says kilometers, but I think most on the call here are from the States, so it would say miles. And you're able to see the billable line items, if a signature was collected, and a detailed audit log here, including when I visited each site on that job. So let's go to the one that we were actually doing. So I would turn my filter on for Delta here, and there's 18,579. So this is the job that we just did, Alamo. And my job as the billing admin here is to make sure that these line items are accurate and all the ones that should be there are. So I could add fuel surcharges or whatever I need to do. So I'll just hit edit. And maybe before I send it over to Mr. Customer on the call here, I'm just going to bump this down to 1 from 1.25. And now that I'm happy with it, the next step here is to submit it for approval. At this step, you'll see the job go from completed to pending approval.
You're probably wondering, as a pro supplier, when you invite a new client or a guest requester, what do they end up seeing? So they get an email that describes how IronSight works, a few of our features, and gives them the opportunity to create an account. We have a web platform and a mobile platform. Guest requesters can use both. So in this case, I'm just going to go through the mobile workflow. So like I said, I set up my account, and I'm going to log in as you've seen before. This is the familiar IronSight experience that you've seen, and you have the ability to see jobs that have been completed or requested by you in the past. In this case, as a new user, I'm going to see the jobs that are pending my review and approval. So I'm going to visit the pending approval area, look at the job that Adam sent to me. And of course, I get access to the same information Adam sees. So I'll be able to see the planned duration, how much time it took the field worker to complete the job, and also how much distance they traveled. I'm going to use that information to, including the line items information, to make an approval decision. And of course, if I have any questions, I'm able to ask that in the job itself, so that Adam sees that and can respond. So after my final review, in this case, I require a signature on my jobs. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll my name here, indicating that everything looks great. I'm going to scroll up, approve the job, and Adam will immediately see this change on his side. Now, before I pass it back to Adam, I'm just going to show that as a guest requester now, I'm able to digitally request work that I need instead of sending Adam an email or a text or using a phone call. I'm able to just go into IronSight using the account I've already created and enter the information about what it is that I need that day, assign it to SureFlow, which is Adam's company, enter some basic information about the work that I need done, and enter some basic cost information as required, submit, and that's it. It's very easy as a guest requester once I've had exposure to the reviewing and approval process to create those jobs in IronSight. Now, this is totally optional. You can continue to accept jobs as you do today. But some clients may prefer to use the digital experience. And of course, it ends up in IronSight without any work from you.
So great news. We just got a job request come in. And the beauty of this is your dispatch team didn't have to create it. That was all just the requester putting it in exactly the information or exactly what they need. There's no chance for miscommunication. It saved your team the time from creating that. And this job will it's basically just ready to dispatch. So I would just drag and drop that job down to VAC 87 and off you go. The other change would be the job that Stephen approved. So we're back to 18,579 here that we submitted to him for his approval. As we scroll down here, we can see Stephen's crazy looking signature here, and we can also see in the audit log his comments, when he signed it, when he approved it. And yeah, all of this information that you're seeing on the job, including the signature, gets included on our, when you download the PDF for that job. When we release this feature in your admin portal in IronSight, you'll have a section called apps. So I click on that and you'll see QuickBooks Desktop. This is our sync app that's waiting for you. So when you open that up, everything you need to do it yourself is right here. So it'll tell you about the features and benefits and exactly how to install this. So the install takes 5 to 10 minutes. So it's really easy. And then there's just a bunch of frequently asked questions down here at the bottom. But basically I'll download this, it's called a QWC setup file. So you'll download that. And then you'll get this password here. So I'm just going to copy that to my clipboard. And now with that, with all that, I'll just jump into my QuickBooks Desktop here. So probably familiar to those of you that use this system. I'm just on the list of invoices screen here. And they have this thing called a QuickBooks Web Connector. And this is the little tool that basically makes a connection between IronSight and your QuickBooks Desktop. So you just go add an application. and you'd go find that setup file that you just downloaded from IronSight. And once you do that, you'll see that SureFlow Trucking here, so that's IronSight, is connected to QuickBooks Desktop. And you can set this thing up to automatically run every minute or two, or you can just manually do it or do it once a day, whatever you prefer. Information can actually automatically transfer from IronSight to QuickBooks. We'll show you a billing admin. Let's say they're batching up some jobs for invoicing and they want to get them into QuickBooks. So they would go to IronSight, probably set their filters for a date range, and maybe they're just responsible for billing Infinite Oil Co. They would find jobs that are not batched yet and probably just want to do the ones that are approved. So now that I've set that up, I see that I've got 8 jobs that should make its way into QuickBooks Desktop. So we know sometimes there's one job per invoice. There can be many. It all depends. So let's just say this first job here is on its own invoice. We can just click it, like update job and add to batch. So the last batch I created was number 12. I'll create number 13. Put in my payment terms, create batch and add jobs. And you'll see that beautiful new section on the batch there that's going to save you a ton of data entry time. And that's this QuickBooks Desktop Sync. So we can see that this batch here has one job on it. You can see the line items on that job. $75 is the grand total for this invoice. There's no other jobs that I'm going to add to this batch, so it's ready to make its way into QuickBooks Desktop. So when I'm ready, I'll just press this sync button. You'll see that the status says it's queued. And basically what that means is you've marked this one as ready to sync. And the next time the web connector runs, like this little guy here, it's going to go and find the ones that are queued and automatically create invoices for those in QuickBooks Desktop. So I'm just going to manually run this web connector right now. So I'll press update selected. And it starts to grab information from IronSight, and voila, it's created invoice number 13 automatically. So you can see in the bottom of the list there, and I can open it up. And you can see the customers mapped over, the dates, the invoice number, memos, and then all of the line items that were on the jobs are mapped into the section of the invoice here. So yeah, it'll save your billing team a ton of time. Obviously, I just did one job one invoice with one job on it. So that's a pretty simple example, but why don't we do a bit of a more complicated test here. So let's say that these 3 jobs belong on an invoice together. So I'll add them to batch number 14. They should disappear. These 2 belong on a batch together, so we'll add them to batch number 16. And finally, 2 more jobs to invoice for today. I'll select them all. Here. Add to batch. Looks like I skipped a number. I'll put 15 for this one. And I'll create that batch and add jobs. Make sure to sync that one. 15, it's ready to sync. 16 is also ready to sync. So now we've got 3 invoices queued up with about, 6 jobs. So a little bit more complicated, I would say. So back in my QuickBooks here, and I'll run the web connector. It's connecting, it's grabbing the information, it's grabbing the line items, and it's now created invoices 14, 15, and 16 all at once. And when I open them up, you can see all the line items are also mapped over just right.
Here, someone sent me a private note. I've seen the app functionality. If we have a local developer that we use to do a lot of our stuff, can they have access to IronSight and build any kind of API and integrated or connectors for us off of IronSight?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. So we do have an API that developers do take advantage of today. So we do have a platform to build on top of, and we'd love to hear more about your use case, and we can definitely set you up.
We know QuickBooks Desktop is not the only system out there. There's, NetSuite, Business Central, many others. But just in talking with our suppliers that are on IronSight, this was the most common one. And this is our first kind of foray into building these sync apps that will connect IronSight to these various systems. So you can expect more in the future. So we have the sync app here for QuickBooks Desktop. We know there's other systems, as I said, and we have a pretty decent way to get our information into those systems in the meantime as well, while we don't have the syncs for every system. So you notice on the batch, we have a download CSV. When I click that, it gives me this CSV here, which is like an import ready file that can be used to, like many systems like QuickBooks Online, NetSuite, they have importers that can basically pull in all this data from a spreadsheet. And I can also download the PDF, and it'll grab every single PDF that's on this batch and conveniently merge them all into one nice file for you to attach in the invoicing or buyer portals. Many of these invoicing tools have ways to just pull in our data through a CSV. So the guest requesters and the sync to QuickBooks are available on the paid pro plan. They'll be landing on October 2024. And there's just the link down there at the bottom to upgrade that plan to get those features and get the free trial.